Welcome everybody to the FlyTill Podcast. We're back once again, another week, another episode, another guest. And this guest I have is a friend of mine, know from all the way back when I was a youngster. And this young lady is somebody that I'm very, very proud of, and I see her growth. And I want her to introduce herself, and then I'll be talking more about her, and we'll be learning more about her. Introduce yourself.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction. Hello, everybody. My name is Paige Hubbard. Some of you may know me on social media as the Paige Hubbard brand. By profession, I am a broadcast journalist in Beaumont, and I am so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm glad to have her. You know, the FlyTill Podcast, we bring across a myriad of guests, and we like to have our guests to have something going on. This lady surely has a lot going on. So, as I do, most of the time I like to start with the, origin story, where you're from, your growth, and then let's stop at it about college, and then we'll resume on other things.
Okay, so I'm from H-Town, honey, hold it down. H-Town, Houston, Cashmere Gardens is where I was really kind of brought up because my grandfather owned property in that area, and I was very close with my grandparents as a little girl. For people who follow me on social media know how close my grandfather and I were before he passed away. And so, it was considered the hood, but it wasn't the projects. We lived in the suburbs, but it was like a predominantly black area. So that kind of gave me the ability to have, street smarts because I would go to my grandfather's house on the weekend and then, return back to the suburbs and Pearland during the week. And so that just kind of gives you a little bit of a little bit about my realness, how I came up. And I had a great upbringing. My mom, my dad, I have 4 sisters. Kind of fast forwarding into more of my adulthood, walking into my womanhood. I went to Lamar, where we met, Lamar High School on Westheimer, and I never woke up one day and said that I wanted to be a journalist. It was just kind of something that the Lord, instilled in me. He just introduced me to certain things, and once, I was introduced to it, I was like, wow, I really love this. I actually, when I was at Lamar, I wanted to be a lawyer.
Oh, wow.
I changed and said I wanted to be a hairstylist because I've always, liked to look good and, know how to do hair. And that has helped me in my profession today because, no, I don't have a professional makeup or hair artist. But anyway, so I wasn't that serious in high school. I goofed around a lot. If y'all know me in high school, I was bad. I actually got kicked out of school my junior year. We're not going to talk about why.
No, we're not.
I got sent to CEP, and I was just like, you know what? I really got to turn it around. Like, this is not where I belong. I'm a good kid. I was just a little rebellious, always feisty, independent, have a mind of my own. And so my senior year, I was like, okay, I'm going to really, get my stuff together. But at that time, shucks, like I messed up for 3 years. So my GPA wasn't the greatest when I graduated from high school. So I had to do my first 2 years at a community college at HCC and then transfer into the illustrious, the historic Texas Southern University, where I am a proud graduate. And there, the Lord really just fostered my passion for journalism. Big shouts out to my professor, Sabino Sanderford Walker. She saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. And she just pushed me to run towards that goal. And so then I met my mentor, Nakia Cooper, shouts out to her as well. And she helped me get my first internship at Fox 26 because she had a great relationship with Isaiah Carey. And so Isaiah Carey came to her and was like, send me your best 3 interns, because that was actually my first internship with Nakia Cooper. She had her own news and media platform called News with Attitude. And so there I really got to get hands-on with my craft and get comfortable in front of being in front of a camera and interviewing people and, just really coming into my own. Right. And so then from that relationship, and this is why I always say sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. So from that relationship, I was able to go to Fox because of her relationship with Isaiah Carey. And then from there, things just started going up and up, all from that internship I did with Nakia Cooper. And so actually my last day at Fox, I was like a junior or a sophomore. I was a junior in college. They offered me a position to be a AP, an associate producer. And they had me take a writing test, and I failed the writing test. My writing has gotten so much better now.
I already know.
But it wasn't the right time. I still had a year left in school. It was going to be a lot on my workload, and I was really bummed about it because I really enjoyed that moment. Fox 26 is where I really fell in love with journalism, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is for me. Like, it's something that I can't explain. It was just a feeling. So I always like to share that part, because people may look at me and be like, it's all success, and no, there has been many failures, to set as building blocks to get me where I am today. So anyways, I didn't end up getting the associate producer job at Fox 26, so I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do now? Right. And so Nakia Cooper, my same mentor, again, I was still interning for her, and she was like, I want you to go to Amazing 102.5, where the phenomenal Kim Gagne was the VP of the radio station there. It's actually broadcast out of St. John's, the church that Beyonce belongs to. Okay. And so I went there to do some social media for the Al Rucker show. I don't know if y'all familiar with Al Rucker, but y'all know he has his own radio station. And so from that, Kim saw my work ethic, and another fantastic journalist, Joy. So you can tell me if I'm going too long because I talk a lot.
Nah, you're doing it. I like it. I got you. I'm gonna get you in a little bit. I need this.
Kim Gagne saw my work ethic. She's a big time producer. She's the person. She started Great Day Houston on Channel 11. She used to be a producer for Channel 11, and then she left Houston and worked for the Steve Harvey Show for years.
Oh, and
Steve Harvey.
Oh, okay,
yeah. So she's part of the reason why the Steve Harvey Show was syndicated nationally.
No, okay, that's huge.
So yeah, she was able to see my work ethic, and she was like, hey, I think it's great that you're working for Al, but I think that, you would be a better fit for Joy Suing's show because she's a journalist and she can help you with your writing. So I was like, okay, cool. So here I am. I went from TV, now I'm doing radio, and TV was always in my passion, but I'm like, I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna try something different. And so that opportunity led me to an internship at KPRC Channel 2, where I was a production intern, and then it really just goes up from there. And I was interning at Channel 2 up until like 2 weeks I graduated from college. So the journey has definitely been a roller coaster, but I wouldn't change any of it.
And I'm glad she wouldn't change any of it. Do y'all see the professionalism that she just taught? I ain't never had nobody, around me with so much professionalism as it comes to media. And this is just what I need, to let y'all know about this young lady. And she gave y'all such, fantastic points from the work ethic, from the struggles, from everybody trying to figure out their way from the childhood all the way to her, internship and to her, job, and how she grew through the platform of media. So, I want to know, when you got in media, can you tell some people about the behind the scene things that goes into them seeing something on the news or something on television, how much work that actually takes, the research, the time, the dedication? I just want everybody to understand that, because we watch TV or your parents watch the news and you just kind of never get to see the behind the scenes, but this young lady has that for you guys, and then we're going to go deeper into her story. So
Right. So being a journalist, a reporter, an MMJ, it's more than just looking good on camera. Like literally, you put in so much work. It's such a hustle and bustle and grind that goes into it behind the scenes. Like being glamorous on TV is actually a very small part of it. So that's what I always like to tell people who want to get in this industry. If you don't like to write, if you don't like to work hard, if you can't work under tight deadlines, this is not the industry for you. If you don't have thick skin, this is not the industry for you because this industry is cutthroat. So when it comes to behind the scenes things, you know, sometimes you get a story idea and you have to make 10 phone calls on it before that 11th person pick up and you get the person you interview. You got to go, you know, in bad neighborhoods sometime, knock on doors, on stranger doors. You got to be bold and daring and go up to people and say, hey, you know, can you talk to me about this? You really just have to own it. But writing is a very, very big part of what I do. Writing lays the foundation for everything, and I cannot stress that enough for anybody who wants to be in this industry. You have to be a great writer and write conversational and write tight, you know, and yeah.
I like that. And I just want to give them a little taste of that, man, because I got a lot of people that come on, you know, talk to me or want to get with me, and they want to do the entertainment field. They want to come into it. But, you know, what you have is a up and close personal seat. You'll see what goes on the airwaves. You're out there in the field. You're in front of the camera. I tell a lot of young men and a lot of young ladies that want to be musicians, artists, actors, or whatever, that camera presence is so key. Understand that. And understand that you have to know your industry back and forth. And the way you're speaking, you know your industry. You've been working in it, and I like that. So also turning into other things, I want you to tell your story about how you said he's a Channel 2, correct? And then how did you go to your current position? I want to talk about that beautiful transition.
So I interned at Channel 2 up until 2 weeks before I graduated, and I just knew that I gotta get it, I don't believe in hype. I just kind of got comfortable because the way that it worked, I was a production intern behind the scenes at a lifestyle show called Houston Life. But my goal was to always do hard news. Like, you know, I don't like fashion. I like politics, social issues, community, social justice, you know, things that are really gonna, like, not saying that fashion and entertainment doesn't impact people, but that's just not what I wanted to do. Sure. So God put me in the building, so I'm like, even though I'm up here doing this, my goal is to get down here to the news department. And so the way that the internship worked was you could go 2 rounds. And so if they really liked you, you went 2 rounds, and I did. And not only that, Cambrell Marshall, who's a legend in the industry, he then invited me down to, you know, come work with the news department. And so fast forwarding there, I didn't apply to any jobs because I was just comfortable thinking that they were going to offer me a job. I graduated with no job. I was working as a hostess at Carrabba's and interning at City Council. And I can remember this enormous amount of pressure that I had on my shoulders because at my graduation party, you know, I had people putting these great expectations on me, and I was a star student in, you know, in college. I interned at Fox. I interned at KPRC. I was the managing editor for my school's newspaper. I was doing so much. I was so active. I was so visible. And then once I graduated, it all stopped. And it's like God put this dream in my heart, and here I am, a hostess at a restaurant, you know, and working, interning at City Hall. And so I remember.
Hold on real quick.
Okay.
I like what you said about the enormous pressure that, you know, family members and friends put on these people that go through college and we go through the grind. But what I would like to say to that is, I feel like those things make us who we are. So when we have other hardships within our current careers, within our current lives, we remember, like, Lord, you brought me through this. I know you're going to bring me through this. And, you know, your strength builds from that because you didn't, you know what I'm saying, you didn't have the perfect route to your career. It was bumps, it was hills, it was valleys. And I feel like those things make you a strong reporter, and they make you a strong person. And then as you go throughout your career, you will double back and remember, I got through that already, right?
Absolutely, and to add to that, it also taught me just to be still and know what God put in my heart, and not, get anxious because somebody else is putting their expectations on me.
Sure.
It's like, that's cool, this is what you think you want me to do, but me and God got this. I'm on His time,
sure.
So I just kind of had to rest in that. And so I started to get really anxious because it was going on a couple of months and I didn't have a job in my field. And my best friend, Portia Olinger, I don't know if you remember her, she went to Lamar with us too. And it's so important to have people in your corner that's going to push you, when you're not pushing yourself. And so she was like, girl, give me your resume. Send me your resume. I'm going to hook you up with my friend. He worked at a legal assistant office. And anyways, long story short, I started working there. I was making a lot of money. The company went under budget cuts. I got laid off. I had to go back to working as a hostess at a restaurant. This time I was working at McCormick and Schmick's. And so it was going on 5 months now since I graduated. And I'm just like, God, like, what is going on? I know we're not supposed to question Him, but, I remember leaving work one day and I had a great day. And I just started bawling, crying. And I'm just like, God, you put this dream in my heart and it's not coming true. Like, I know you didn't bring me this way just to leave me here. And so literally like the next week, I got a phone call from a lady that worked at NTV Houston, because that's also part of my journey. That's where I was before I got here. And so long story short, I interviewed with them. They liked me, and that was like my first real job out of college, but it wasn't a traditional newsroom. It's a unique story because I was the only Black woman there. I made history by becoming the first African American woman to work for a South Asian station. Everybody that I worked with was either Pakistan or Indian. And so it was a lot of challenges there. It was cultural issues. They didn't really know much about the news industry. So here I am, fresh out of college, showing them what a package is, how this is supposed to be, how that is supposed to be. And I feel like I was just putting so much into that environment. It really wasn't, giving me room to grow. And so I started praying like, God, elevate me.
Right.
And so I had Chloe Alexander at Channel 11 reach out to me, and she asked me if I wanted to apply for a part-time job behind the scenes. And so I was like, I don't really know. It was temporary. So it was temporary. I really wasn't sure, but I talked about it, whatever. I decided to do it. So I left my full-time on-air job to take a temporary part-time job behind the scenes at Channel 11 as an assignments desk editor. And I really enjoyed my time there. It gave me, a different skill set, and I applied that to what I'm doing now. But my heart wasn't fulfilled. I was making the most money I ever made. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was good, but I wasn't satisfied on the inside because my passion was to tell stories on air. So this is why y'all see I'm not name dropping, but it's so important to know people because I done said like 3 to 5 people name as I'm sharing my testimony. And so then Tan Rafford, who I work with now, shouts out to Tan. We was talking to her. I was like, I'm not really happy with you. And I didn't even, me and Tan, we went to college together, but like we weren't best friends. We really didn't talk like that. We just kind of bonded over our kinship for our profession. And so she just showed her news director my tape. I didn't even ask her. And her news director
just showed it to her, just like that.
Yeah, I actually, the station they wanted me, the station that I was with, they interviewed me twice. The first time they didn't offer me enough money, so I turned them down, and then a couple of months later they increased the pay. And so I told them, okay, now the money I'm ready. And so I took a pay cut, a tremendous pay cut, but the way the industry works is that, it was a blessing for me to graduate. The news industry is based off of markets. Houston is a top 10 market, and there's a certain level of experience that you have to have when you're working in the top 10 market. And so, I was in a top 10 market, but I wasn't doing what I needed to do. So the formula was do your time at a small market, at Beaumont or, market 70 or something below that, and then work your way and come back. And when I tell y'all, I was like, I don't have to leave Houston. Somebody gonna pick me up. Like, I can work hard. But when I tell y'all, like, leaving Houston was one of the best decisions that I've made. Like, people was like, you're not gonna work in Beaumont, and this is why you gotta stay steadfast in your journey, because people is gonna try to project their insecurities and their opinions on you, and you gotta be like, honey, I'm not worried about that. I know what God put in my life, and I'm going to Beaumont, and this is what I'm about to do, and I'm doing it. And I really enjoy being in Southeast Texas. It is a little different than Houston, but I love it. You know, I really don't have much complaints. So yeah, that's basically how I got to Beaumont. I had to take a sacrifice, leave my hometown. I've been in Houston my whole life. This is my first time actually leaving. You know, in the first 2 months I was working there, I signed a 2-year contract. In my first 2 months, I was driving back and forth from Houston to Beaumont. Yeah, I was still living in Houston, but I got tired of that real quick. I was like, oh no, I can't be working, 8-9 hour shifts and then having to drive back and forth. So when I tell you God is so amazing, like can nobody tell me that God don't exist, because He lined up everything so perfectly. I was able to find a really good rental property out there in one of the best neighborhoods in Beaumont. And my rent is very affordable because, again, I took a pay cut. So, yeah, and I'm rocking it out, and
she killing it.
I'm
She's not
doing
rocking
it
it out. She killing it. She killing it. Y'all see that whole story right there? Somebody that had they had a dream, and they went through all this stuff, all this down, all this doubt, all this fear, all this everything. And they kept pushing, but nowhere in there did you hear the word quit, stop, give up. You just heard keep moving, keep persevering, keep pushing. And I want y'all all to do that, man, to all my people that listen to it, because I got a lot of, people that call me and ask me for well, how did you do this, how did you do that? I said, man, I didn't quit. No matter what I do, I don't quit. Anything going wrong, anything going bad, I just pray and I keep moving, because if you keep moving, then you got opportunity to get to where you want to get. And I love
absolutely
to hear your dream about
you
it.
have to. There's like a meme on Instagram, and I know it may sound cheesy, but it says be fearless in the pursuit of what sets your heart on fire. And you really have to do that, because it's gonna get hard. You know, the journey is not meant to break you, it's meant to build your character. And there's gonna be challenges that you have to go through in order for the Lord to promote you to where you want to be. So that's really good words of encouragement. Never give up, stay encouraged, stay prayed up. And I'm a true testimony that no matter what it may look like in that moment, if you have a dream in your heart and you doing what you need to do, God gonna make it happen. But if you're not moving your feet, you can't expect God to move His feet. You gotta meet Him halfway. I gotta meet in the middle. So
right, and yeah, that's so true. But also, what I want to tap on is I did go back and watch a few of your videos in Beaumont, and I want you to talk about the women in the work field of journalism and just how you breaking barriers, because I watch NFL games, NBA games. I'm starting to see more black women on the television, and I feel like that's amazing. News channels, wherever I watch, I'm just loving the plethora of black women that are being afforded these opportunities. So can you just tell us how it is working as a woman, and what are some of your goals as you move forward in the industry?
You know, as a black woman, I feel like we have to be 10 steps ahead of the game, because society has already placed these stereotypes on us before they even reach out and, shake our hand and we get to show people what we're really made of. I'm fortunate enough to work at a station where it's very diverse. We have a lot of black reporters and talent at our station, and that's not the case in some of the newsrooms. It's plenty of newsroom across this country that only maybe have one black person. As I said, in my journey when I was working at NTV, I was the only black woman there. I made history by becoming the first black woman to work for a South Asian station. So that in itself, it posed challenges, because I'm a very passionate person and I'm gonna speak my mind. And so if it's a story that I feel like that needs to be told and I feel like we're glazing over it, I'm going to speak up and I'm going to be like, hey guys, I think we need to take a look at this story. And sometimes, going back to the stereotypes, when we speak up and we show our passion gets mistaken for aggression. Right. But really it's just like, my heart is in this, and I need you to feel this how I'm feeling this, So that can be one of the challenges sometimes, but again, for that example, I had a situation at work last week, and we didn't. My news directors and my producers, they really wasn't feeling the story, and I was like, guys, I really think we should do this story. I was fighting for it, and my news director, he put me to the side, and he was like, hey, like, I appreciate you fighting for that story, and I was taken back because I was like, thank you. Again, I don't want my passion to be mistaken for aggression. So where I'm at right now, I'm really blessed to work in an environment where people, they see my drive, they see my fire, they see my determination, and they help foster that in me, and they don't try to change me. I have people tell me, oh, you're not gonna be successful because you're too bubbly or you dress too nice. People, do not let people dim your light, honey. Do not let people do that. Do not let people put you in a box. This world is too big to fit in with anybody else. That's why God, you have your own fingerprint. You one of a kind, and that's amazing. So I had challenges like that, and I had to, kind of check myself because I did kind of start to dim down my light a little bit. But you also have to check who you get your critique from, your critiques, because sometimes it could be a whole bunch of critiques with no credentials. You can have people. I have people, and it's no shade to nobody that's watching this, but I have people sometimes that's never been in front of a camera, never took a journalism class, that try to tell me how to do my job, and I'm open to constructive criticism. But when you try to encourage me and pour into me, I need to know the fountain that you're pouring from is of good stock. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, there's challenges with everything. I'm just not going to sit up here and say it's a walk in the park. Yes, there's challenges, there's obstacles, but my determination and me standing in my truth helps me get over them. And as far as my future, to answer that question, I really feel like the Lord is going to take me somewhere bigger than just being a local news reporter. I have so many dreams and goals and ambitions. I'm an inspiring entrepreneur. I want to own my own restaurant. I want to own my own production company. I want to do so many things, but you got to crawl before you walk, and you can't birth more than one baby at one time. And I remember sitting on Matthew Knowles' class, because Matthew Knowles, Beyonce daddy, he was a professor at TSU. Shout out Matthew Knowles. And so he was saying how when Beyonce started in her career, she wanted to do all of these things. She knew that she wanted to have House of Darion. She knew she wanted to act. She had all of these lofty goals, but he was like, she had to focus on the singing, because when you have your hands involved in 5 different things, something gonna come up prematurely. So right now, my goal is just to perfect myself as a journalist. My immediate goal is to get back to Houston. That's my dream. I want to be on air in my hometown. That's what I really want to do. But again, I feel like the Lord is going to take me way further than that. He's going to use this journalism career as a vehicle to something so much bigger.
I love this. And I like, I just love the passion and determination. I like that story she talked about. She talked to her news director, was it?
Yes, my news director.
And the passion that she fought for a story, and just the passion she's bringing to this podcast today. Like, I'm passionate about what I do with this podcast. I love it. I love the space. I watch podcasts, listen to podcasts. That's just something I love to do. And, what I'm saying, I just love to give information, because what she's giving you guys is information that you would probably have to talk to her for a conversation. Not to be rude or anything, but she's probably not going to talk to you because she's a busy woman. So understand that this is great. The tips she's giving you guys, anybody with a dream, with a goal, entrepreneurship that wants to move forward in life, please take these lessons. Do not bypass these lessons that she's giving. Continuing on though. So I see you in the field. You talk to a lot of people, and so you talk to the underprivileged. You talk to the ones that are struggling. You talk about very hard-hitting things, politics, poverty, things like that. And I want to know, does it sometimes emotionally get to you? I just wonder.
Yes. Today, I was telling you on our way in here, I did a story, in this pandemic, it's been such a heightened sensitivity. It's just so much going on. So many people are struggling, and I wake up and I feel blessed every day because I have a house to sleep in. I have money to pay my bills, and I get to wake up and do what I love every day. And there's so many people, there's thousands of people applying for unemployment. And so today the story that I did was about this bar owner who him and his dad, his dad invested his entire savings into this bar, and they renovated it, and they spent like months on making it their baby, and they had the grand opening like right before the pandemic hit, and they were only open for a week, and they had to shut down. And so I was talking to the guy today because yesterday, Governor Greg Abbott, he increased businesses to 75%, but bars are still to remain closed. And some bar owners have gotten smart and changed their permitting licenses to restaurants so they can stay afloat, but that's not the case. And that was this gentleman's scenario. So I'm talking to him and I'm just asking him, I like to be very conversational. I don't like to be all stuffy. I talk to my interviews something like how we talk, and I want like the real. So it's a conversation. And so I was like, just tell me, how is this dealing with all of this? You opened up, you had to shut down. You still have to put the lights on, pay your money. And as he's telling me, he starts crying. A grown man, I'm talking about manly man. I've interviewed this man like twice now. He a military man, and you can tell he was trying to be strong, and I'm just getting chills talking about it now. And I started tearing up with him.
I understand.
And he was like, I gotta stop, and I gave him a hug, So it's like, it gets emotional because I cover stories of tragedy. I cover stories of people losing, trials and triumphs. I cover the good and bad, and it's sometimes, you're never supposed to get involved in your story, but emotionally. But I'm a human. I'm a very compassionate person. I have a big heart. So yes, sometimes it is difficult, but you have to remember, this is my job. I'm here to do a story, and it's okay to have my moment, but don't let that moment overtake you. You gotta keep pushing through that.
No, for sure. And I only ask that question because I see so much on the news, and I see a lot of different things, and it gets very, very like, man, how do the reporters go talk about a man that just got shot, or talk to somebody's family member or something like that? Like, that's just, you're just like, you processing. So I like to make sure that it's very, very
But at the same time, the crazy thing is, I cover so many stories of tragedy. Sometimes I'm numb to it. Like, right after Hurricane Laura hit, I went to Port Arthur, and 5 people died, 6 other people were injured because, that area didn't have lights from the storm. And so they were looking for a place to shelter, and they had a generator inside of a building, which is a huge no-no, and it cost them their lives. Wow. And so, yes, I'm like, this is a sad story, but it's like, the news is such a hustle and bustle. You always moving around. Especially if it's breaking news, it's just like, I gotta drop my attention now and focus on this. So yes, some moments I do have compassion, and some moments I feel like, dang, like, am I desensitizing myself? Because I deal, and it's funny because I talk to cops a lot too, and they say the same thing because they see the same stuff I see.
Right. No, and that's real. I just the whole world just sees so much. It goes down your timeline. You see tragedy, this tragedy, that. You just like, whoa, and you really think so? Am I really not being like, I should care about this somebody? But it's just so much, and I just feel like you deal with that on a daily basis. And I just want to just get everybody to understand your life, because you have a very, very, very different lifestyle than many people that work a 9 to 5 and things like that. So moving right along with the different things, as far as your fashion, we see you're very fashionable when you come on the station. I see what you're putting together.
I try.
You do a little something.
I do a little something.
You do a little something. I like that. So how key is your wardrobe to how you feel? I like to ask people that are fashionable.
I love to look the part. I love to dress. That's just always been who I am as a person. And I think that you have to look the part, and a big part of this industry is looking good. And that's just the truth. Not to sound conceited, but you don't want to turn on the TV and see somebody frumpily dressed, or their hair isn't combed, or they don't look polished. So I take every aspect of what I do seriously, from me looking the part, me being knowledgeable about that. I love to look good. I love to dress up. So that's just me. I'm just
part
fly.
of the game. Hey, y'all, if you ain't looking right, you might not get the right attention. Remember that. Understand that and internalize it. That's very, 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 very key. And then I heard entrepreneurship, so I really want to dig back in that bag, because that's kind of what I'm dealing with right now with my brand, FlyTill. So we kind of do media. I have music artists. We put out a lot of videos, content, and I'm getting into merch. I also do software design for people, so I'm an entrepreneur myself. I want to talk about your entrepreneurial goals, and let's dig in that bag a little bit because I believe you're going to be pretty successful. Your passion, your intelligence, your attention to detail, I see all that. So what I want you to do is give my audience some of your entrepreneurial goals, and what we're going to do is we're going to work hard, and then when they come true, I'm going to cut this part and be like, who got it first? The FlyTill Podcast did. Remember that.
Right. So, I don't really know exactly. I know it's something in my heart, but I know like, so just to bring it back. So, I really kind of had to rebrand myself, and that's how, the Paige Hubbard brand came to life. And that's part of my entrepreneurship journey because I want to grow the Paige Hubbard brand into something much bigger. Okay. But before the Paige Hubbard brand was a thing, my name on Instagram was Can't Stop P Smalls. And I had my cleavage out. My profile pic was me in the club with a drink in my hand with a low cut dress on. And so when I started getting serious about my brand, I was like, I call myself want to be a news reporter, but my page don't have no stories on it. Nothing on my social media reflects what I'm projecting to the world. So I had to rebrand my entire image. I had to rebrand my entire self. And that's how the Paige Hubbard brand was birthed. And I was actually caught between two names, Little Miss Everything and the Paige Hubbard brand. And so LaShonda Pierce, shouts out to LaShonda. She was like, I think you should go with the Paige Hubbard brand. Like, that's grown, that's sexy, it's something that's gonna stick. And so, yeah, I went with it. And then I took it a step further and I said, I want to have my own website. My entrepreneur spirit was birthed in me when I was in college. And I cultivated a website. It was not successful. This is a part of, I'm not gonna say a failure, it just didn't work out. And when the time is right, I'm going to relaunch it. And so I had this vision to launch a website named after me and let it be like a news platform where you can come and see behind the scenes things of my life. Kind of some of the stuff I do on my Instagram, but just more detailed and organized and more lofty. Right. And so I put all of this money into having a lunch party. If y'all follow me, y'all know what I'm talking about. I put all this money. I had a lunch at the Microsoft store. Oh, I would say maybe about $3,000.
For sure, which is a substantial amount.
I mean, for me at that time, I was a college student. Sure. I was a senior in college, getting ready to graduate. I mean, now, $3,000 is not. But at that time, that was a lot of money for me, coming out of my own pocket to birth my goal. And I just didn't really have the time for it to be what I envisioned it to be, So answering your question, that's just a little part of, I want to relaunch my brand, the Paige Hubbard brand. I want to relaunch my website, and on my website, I want to sell a product. I don't know what yet, and this is why I say, the vision is a little hazy right now. But I'm just gonna let God carry me like He always do. He put it in my heart, and I know as time progresses, it's gonna come more. It's gonna be more clear for me. I'll have more clarity. But I already know, for sure, I want to own a restaurant. I want to have my own production company. I don't want to work for anybody else for the rest of my life. I know I'm going to be in this industry for a very long time, knock on wood, but I want to have my own on the side.
No, I like that. Ownership is key. That's kind of why I see it at. I'm really big on ownership. I do work for somebody right now, do their IT, but I want to have my own IT business. I want to be able to consult with different companies, businesses, and just it's always different when they have a black man come in and does their IT. They're just blown away. But I love what you said right there when you said, you tried it, but like we said on the beginning earlier, keep trying, don't quit, build, and I really see something big coming from the Paige Hubbard brand. And I said we'll definitely talk off camera. For sure. But definitely tying all in, and I like this conversation. This is a great conversation. I love what you're bringing, energy-wise, conversational, professionalism, and then I also want to talk about your faith. So, that's pretty big we are in a better gospel station right now, which is feeling good.
Yeah.
And I don't think I cussed yet, so I'm very happy.
Oh no, I saw the gospel. I cuss like a sailor, so I really been trying to hold my tongue, honey, because I
we caught ourselves today. I caught myself. I was shocked. This might be the first FlyTill episode where the host doesn't say a bad word. But now let's continue to talk about your faith because I want to hear about this.
My faith is a very big part of who I am.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be anything without God. And I really owe it to my great-grandmother who instilled in me to have a relationship with God. Like I said in the beginning of this, I would always go to my grandparents' house on the weekend. And my grandmother was just submerged in the Lord, like church hats, Bible study, speaking tongues. She was I'm getting chills right now. I feel her spirit in this room. She was such a strong woman of God, and I admired her about that. And I was brought up in a church, and after she died when I was in the 5th grade, that part of my life kind of took a backseat because she was the only person to bring me to church. My mom and my dad, they were Christian, faith-going people, but they just didn't really go to church like that.
Right.
And so, fast forward into high school, really, that's when I kind of started like getting back in the Word. I know that sounds crazy from like 5th grade to high school, and of course there were times in between that timeline where I did go to church, but not as often as it was when I was a little child, was a little girl. And so I remember when I was a senior in high school, I was like, Lord, if you bless me with a car, I'm gonna go to church every Wednesday because I started watching John Gray on Lakewood. I belong to Lakewood. I know people say what they want to say about Lakewood, but leave my church alone. And so John Gray is actually a black man. He preaches every Wednesday, and he was so powerful. And the Lord blessed me with a car, and I kept my word, and I started going to church. And when I tell y'all, that's when I was like 18, 19. When I tell y'all, when I got back in the word, like actually listening and being still and, waiting on God to tell me how he wanted me to move versus me moving in what I think what I should do, man, my life was just totally different. Like if there was a struggle or an obstacle, I would be like, I'm good. Like I just have this, energy about me. Even when I'm not good, I'm good because God got me. You know what I'm saying? Like he not gonna leave me astray. He not gonna forsake me. He has great plans for me. So I love God, and I would not be nothing without him. And I listen to him throughout the day. There's scriptures all over my room, at my desk. I have a daily devotional. I talk to him throughout the day. When I'm getting ready, doing my makeup, before I go on air, I'm listening to a spiritual song or I'm listening to a sermon. I'm constantly indulging in the Lord's word throughout my day because it's so important for him to order your steps.
Right. I feel like that's key, and we talked about our faith because I believe that you must have faith with God. You got to. I grew up in the church. I know how I go, and we go astray because we are human beings and we do what we do. But understand that relationship is very key. You got to go back and holler.
Honey,
Talk to him every now and then. Let him know, like, hey, I got some stuff going on in my mind. I need you to help me out right now because you know what I'm saying, when you go to bed at night, it just be you, or even if you're laying next to somebody, it's still just you and it's your life. But I like to tell people, you have to kind of, if you don't have anything guiding like your life, or you're not fighting for anything, going for anything, you kind of can get led astray with this world. This world is very, very good at taking people astray and making it what they want out of people. I see a lot of people that lose their lives young, that are very traumatized or in jail, incarcerated, or just other things that you just kind of pray for them people, but you kind of understand, like they really didn't have that guidance, they really didn't have that relationship, and certain things happen, but you got to continue to push through.
Absolutely.
And I believe that prayer is powerful.
Absolutely. And that's why, like, when people come to me, I hate to sound like I'm throwing a Bible, but I should just say pray, talk to God, because like I just feel like your life is so much better with him on your side, man. For sure. So I just always encourage people, like, no matter what religion you are a part of, or no matter what God you praise, just have a relationship with that God.
Amen. I like to tell people that all the time, man. Just have you a solid relationship, which is very, 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 very beautiful. Okay, so you know what I'm saying? I do have a young lady in here, and I like to speak to lady about give me 3 things that you expect from a man that you're dating. 3 things that are like you need these things or the conversation ends. Everything ends. I need just 3 solid things. And these can be like morals wise. These can be, work ethic wise. I just want to hear 3 things that come across your mind that your man has to have.
Well, the first thing, I consider myself a sapiosexual.
Right.
So that's a person who's more attracted to intellect than the way that somebody's look. I'm a very intellectual person.
Right.
I talk for a living. I love very deep conversations.
Right.
So we have to be able to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be able to arouse me mentally. So good conversations for sure. Support, because I carry a lot of weight. I deal with a lot of stuff. It's sometimes I got to come home and be like, baby, let me tell you what happened. And, I don't want nobody to blow me off or don't have time for me. So you got to have good conversation. You got to have support. And I say loyalty. Loyalty is a big thing in my book.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
That's a big one. That's a slept on.
It's a lot more, honey, but
I want them first 3 because I don't want to give them everything because I don't want your DM on fire. Okay.
Oh, honey.
I don't want the DM on too much fire. Be like, hey, I got the support. I got the loyalty, and I got the spectacular vernacular for you.
Oh, verbal spectacular. I love it. I can't even say it, but I love it.
You know what I'm saying? That's really big. And like she said, man, I like to get perspective from women because, you know what I'm saying, as men, we always thinking, man, like, what do women want? It be kind of difficult, but it do be simple sometimes, but it still be a little difficult.
If you pay attention to a woman, you know exactly what she wants. Amen. If you study and observe your woman and you listen to her, you'll know exactly what she wants.
Nah, for sure. You gotta listen. You gotta respect. And I just feel like it's like you say, how the news comes at you so fast. I feel like this generation, we got a lot of people that come at us fast. So a lot of people have been dating, and they kind of get. I heard this word this week called dating fatigue, and like they've dated so many people, been on so many dates, and they haven't found the right thing. So I just feel like if you really want something or you want somebody, when you focus on that somebody and it all makes sense, then I feel like you should come out ahead. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you gonna kiss a couple frogs to get to your prince.
Oh,
and
for sure.
As I've gotten older, I've become way more selective with who I give my time to in terms of dating. When I was a young woman dating, I gave a lot of men chances that I had no business dealing with. And I would just encourage any lady listening to this podcast to make sure that the individual that you seek or you want to be with is equally yoked with you. The Bible says that. And that's so important because if you all are not on the same page, it's going to be a constant conflict. It's going to be a constant struggle. And if you or one of the individuals in a relationship try to bring that person up to your mindset and they want to stay where they at, it's gonna be a constant pushback. So you gotta make sure you equally yoked with your partner.
Same page, equally yoked. Remember that communication rules the nation for all these people that's trying to.
Absolutely.
Communication rules the nation. If you're not answering your phone, it has to be of a certain reason. It can't just be, my phone. Nah, I done been there, done that. I've been that guy. I've been him. So, you gotta kind of, you know what I'm saying, check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Absolutely.
But I love the tips you're giving these young ladies. I love the tips you're giving the young brothers out here that's pursuing the ladies. And you know what I'm saying, it's I really like this conversation,
yeah,
man.
How much more time we got? Because I can keep going.
Man, we got all the time in the world. This is my podcast. I said we're going to give it about 15. Oh, I know what else I did want to ask you. About, so you said the small market and big market within the news station. We're going to take it back to the business.
Okay.
Back to the small market and the news market. If we have any aspiring journalists, because we don't know, I do have a lot of parents that watch this show,
okay,
that have daughters and things like that.
Hey parents, shout out to the parents.
Shout out to the parents with kids wanting to have daughters. Shout out to the ones endeavoring to have daughters out there working. I like y'all too. But anyway, I want you to give them advice of what steps would you give a freshman college student that wants to get into journalism based on your journey.
I would say internships played a vital role in my journey. Mentors played a vital role in my journey. And I was, again, very blessed to just have people along my journey that saw something in me and helped me, foster my passion for journalism. And not everybody is going to be blessed enough to have a mentor in their life like I did, but I would encourage anybody that wants to get into this business is to study the business, know the business. The news and media world is such a complex, diverse industry. You can be in front of the camera, you can be behind the camera, you can be a producer, a technical director. There's so many different facets to this industry. You really need to know, and this kind of goes back to me when I was in college and undergrad. I did radio, I did TV, I did newspaper, I did everything, and I knew that I want to be on TV, and that's what drove me because I knew what I wanted to do. So that's the second thing. Study the business, know what you want to do, because you can think that you want to do something. People change their majors every day.
Every day.
You know what I'm saying? And when you know what you want to do things that align with that goal. That goes back to my social media account. Profile picture, drink in my hand in the club. No, I want to be taken as a serious person. I'm skeptical sometimes of even posting pictures in my swimsuit on my page because I don't want people to look at me, a certain type of way. So, be passionate about it. Go hard for what you want and never let anybody, try to tell you what you are going to be. You tell the world what you're going to be. I actually just posted something about that today. I hope those tips help y'all out.
I hope them help y'all out too, man. Before we make the grand closing to such a great and illustrious conversation, is there anybody that you would like to shout out, give love to, and also please plug your brand?
Man, I want to shout out to all my followers because I love y'all. Like, I have a great relationship with my followers on Instagram. I know that sounds so crazy.
No, it's the word.
But, it's a part of my personality. It's a part of my brand. As a news reporter, a news personality, you have to engage with the people. I can't be standoffish, and I'm an open book. I have a big personality, and it's just natural for me just to connect with people from all different type of backgrounds. So I just want to give a shout out to everybody and anybody that has supported me, since back in the day and now where I am right now. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much. And I want to shout out to God because, again, I wouldn't be nowhere without God.
Plug your IG name, Twitter.
Okay, my Instagram name is the _Paige Hubbard _brand. I really don't use Twitter. My Twitter sucks, but you can find me on Twitter at the Paige Report 1, and Facebook is Paige Hubbard.
Hey, well, you have the information. Now you guys have everything you need. This has been a great episode of the FlyTill Podcast. We'll be back with you next week at the same time, same hour, and like that, we gone.
Bitch, we eatin', working overnight with no sleep. How you gon' win if you don't sacrifice? Life a gamble, I'm all in.